Okay, it's 6:05 and we're going to get started because we want to get through the work that we have to share with you. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm going to share my screen and then we will launch into the workshop. Okay, here we are. Welcome everyone. We are presenting this workshop today from Patterson Education Fund as a part of the statewide parent advocacy network. Um, Parent Engagement Hub. And so I want to thank SPAN for inviting us to be here with you this evening. My team, we will introduce ourselves, is from Patterson Education Fund. And here you see our mission is to stimulate community action for change so that Patterson Public Schools ensure that all Patterson children achieve high standards. In doing this work in Patterson, you realize that Patterson does not exist in a bubble. It exists inside the state of New Jersey and inside the United States of America. And so we think it's very important that we take our work a little bit broader than our local footprint and work together with partners and with parents across the state and across the country to help all our kids achieve high standards. I want to, at this point, ask the team to introduce themselves. So I'm going to pass it to Brenda, and we always pass with something positive. So to you, Brenda, with love. Brenda, you muted.
I sure am. Thank you so much, Rosie, for the love and for the reminder to unmute. Happens to me all the time. I'm the program director over at Patterson Education Fund, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to Ms. Linda with um, Pride.
Thank you. Linda Reed, Program Manager at Patterson Education Fund. Um, and I will pass it to Vilma with some good vibes.
Tell your vibes, Linda. Good evening, everybody. I am Vilma Ferreri, and I am the project manager at Patterson Education Fund. And I pass it with seeds of love to Portia.
My name is Portia. I'm a volunteer coordinator at the Family Success Center. And
I think Janice is up next. You can pass it to Janice.
I pass it to Janice. Thank you.
All right, I'm Janice. I've been in this community for many, many, many years. I have a son that's now in close to 40, and he was a special education student. And now I have the custody of three of my grandchildren, and I advocate for them.
Wonderful. Thank you. Is that all of us?
And there we have two people on the call left. So, Nicole, would you like to unmute and introduce yourself?
I'm going to stop sharing for a moment so I can see folks. And Nicole may not be able to unmute. So
Good evening, everyone. Let me turn my camera on. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicole Dancy. I actually am not in Patterson. I'm actually an alumni parent from the Morristown up in South Jersey, not North Jersey, school district.
wonderful.
And I'm pretty much just a parent trying to help Black and Brown families in the community navigate the school district.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So did we get everyone now?
Carrie Tyler. I'm here with Span Parent Advocacy. I will be working kind of tech support over in the background. So if anybody's having any technical issues, feel free to let me know over in the chat.
All right. Thank you so much. So I'm going to turn to our presentation again. And we have a check-in. Who's on check-in?
It's me. So you'll notice that we have how many? 9 different Lucy faces. And the check-in question today for each of us is, which Lucy face are you today? I'll go ahead and start, and then I'll pass it with some good vibes to someone. I think, honestly, um, I think I am a 2, probably. I'm feeling very low energy today. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Vilma with
Thank you.
loving kindness.
Thank you for your loving kindness. I feel like number 8. Like, okay, it's okay to be at this time of the day working and chatting with everybody in the community. And I pass it with tender loving care to Linda.
Thank you, Vilma. Well, I am number 6 because my computer is acting stupid right now. And I don't know what the problem is. So, and we'll pass it on to, how about Nicole with some good vibes, Nicole?
I think today I'm a number 5. Um, just when I think I can't learn anything else new, um, in a good way about the community of Morristown, I learned something else. I had a 2-hour phone conversation with a retired teacher and from Morristown, and she was like a wealth of knowledge. So I was pleasantly surprised at our conversation today.
Nice.
Who
And
hasn't gone?
we'll go ahead and pass it over to Portia.
I'm a number 2. I seem to
Okay.
haven't been able to get any work done today because this weather had made me very drowsy for some reason. So
Okay.
who haven't went?
So I'll take it. I
Okay.
think I'm left. I'm number 4. I'm, I'm getting better, but I just spent the last maybe hour and a half looking for my ring, which thankfully I found. But I was gloved up and going through garbage and swiffering the house and trying desperately to find my ring, which I guess I lost enough weight for it to fall off my finger. Um, so yeah, I was feeling like a 4, and I'm working my way back to maybe a 9. Found in my car, by the way. I finally went, let me go see the car because I don't know when was the last time I saw it. So it was in the car.
Yeah.
So if we've all checked in, I will move to the next slide. Thank you all so much for participating in that. Thanks, Brenda.
Actually, we have Janice left.
Oh, that's right. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm probably 3, only because I remember this episode of Lucy so
Ah,
vividly with her mashing the grapes.
yes. One of
Yeah.
my faves. Okay.
Is this me?
Yep.
Linda,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So today we will focus on facilitation. We'll talk about norms and agreements, do some goal and agenda setting, strong facilitation skills, summary and next steps, and get some information on managing difficult participants and the importance of follow-up.
Okay. Um, Today we have agreements to be respectful, to be fully present, to speak from the I perspective. One person speaks at a time. We have a step up and a step back. This agreement means that participants speak and let others speak also. Listen before speaking. Be comfortable with silence. Land the plane. This means that the person should successfully complete his or her idea and to honor confidentiality. Thank you.
Thank you, Vilma. Can we have a thumbs up to say that we agree to honor these agreements as we move forward? Oh, gosh.
Yep.
Thank you. So we're going to launch right in. This is meant for people who have to lead a meeting at any time. If you're not in a position where you expect to lead a meeting, think about it as just general conversation guidance. If you're leading a meeting with your family or trying to have some kind of a group discussion, there are things here that will help you. So we're going to start with before the meeting. You're going into this, you're a parent leader, or you're not, but for some reason, you have to be the person in charge of planning and implementing this meeting and doing whatever follow up. So, here are some things for you to consider before the meeting. The first is why. Why are you having this meeting or this conversation in the first place? Think about how much time you have. As we thought about this workshop, we knew we had an hour, and so we kept that in mind as we did our planning. Who are your participants? If you know ahead, think about how your message might be received by the people who will be there. What do you want to get out of it? Know what your end goal is, not necessarily what the full outcome, but what your expectation is, even if it's that we will get to an outcome about whatever the issue is. What do you want from the participant? You're going to be talking with people, leading them through this conversation. Think about what you want from them. Here, we knew we wanted you to participate. We wanted it to be a back and forth. Although we had some information we wanted to share with you, so we also wanted to share information. What do you want the people there to know and do? What are the participants expecting from you? So you came here expecting to hear about meeting facilitation, or you would not have come. How will you deliver? Who says what in what order? Have that planned out. Do you need any handouts? If you do, have those ready. You want to build a shareable and engaging agenda, and you want to make sure that somebody is taking notes and that you have a timekeeper. So, those are the things that we think you should consider if you are in charge of any meeting or gathering. And one thing we didn't say is we have a Q&A slide at the end, but if there's a particular slide where you have a question, please do stop us and ask the question. Feel free to unmute and ask. We are a small group today. So when you think about your meeting and what you want to happen there, you want to make sure that you have SMART goals. So this is a term that people use. It started in corporate America, but we use it a lot also in the nonprofit and the advocacy and organizing world. School districts use it. When you set a goal, you want it to be a SMART goal. So SMART here is an acronym. The S stands for specific. Make sure your goal is well defined, it is clear, it is not ambiguous. When you say your goal, people understand exactly what you're talking about. What is this goal about? It should also be measurable. So exactly what? How do we measure our progress? How do we know we're accomplishing the goal or not? Is there a quantity? Like for us in a workshop, we will engage 10 people. The number 10 there makes it measurable. So when you set a goal, you want to make sure that if possible, you put that measure in there. You want to make sure it's achievable, it's attainable. Is that something that you can actually do? If it's not, then it shouldn't be a part of your goal. You have to rephrase that goal. Is it realistic? Is it within reach? Is it relevant? Here it says to your life purpose. Is it relevant to our work? Is it realistic that we should expect that we can give this workshop to X number of people? And then is it timely? When do you want to achieve that goal by? So we think it's important as you put your agenda together for your meeting and you think about what outcomes you want to get to, what are your goals, that you consider wherever possible making those be SMART goals. So Linda's going to walk us through some points about what happens during the meeting, things to consider.
Okay, so during the meeting, you always want to do your welcome and introduction like we did in the beginning. You have your check-in icebreakers. You can do something fun or whatever just to get the people in the mood to be happy to be there. You develop or share agreements. You can create your own, come up with your own, or you can, like we have standard agreements that we use. You share the agenda. Do a recap of a previous meeting. If this is a follow-up from a previous meeting, then that's what you would do to make sure that everyone is on the same page. The work of the meeting is the why. You talk about your data, what you want to have, depending on the conversation you are having. You want to do some strategizing and then have a meaningful discussion. With that comes your action steps with names of folks that plan to do things and when do you want those actions to happen with some realistic due dates. Talk about it next meeting if it's necessary, depending on what kind of meeting that you're going to have. If do you need a follow up, and then make sure that you always give thanks to the participants for being there and taking the time out um, to join the conversation.
And next, we'll move on to some facilitator tips. There are 9 in total, and I'll start with these 2. Number 1, allow enough time to have materials prepared and to reflect on your readiness to enter into the conversation space. One of the things that we all do when we're facilitating groups and events is to ground yourself before anyone arrives. You might find a mindfulness practice that helps you, or some sort of music. We had some jazz playing at the very beginning. Or find a practice that helps you find some calm and peace. Number 2, facilitators create a welcoming environment and guide the process so that all participants are treated with dignity, feel included, and are valued for what they bring to the discussion. So you definitely want to have an open energy where people feel comfortable and confident in sharing what's on their heart in that moment and for that discussion. And that's a big reason we have our agreements at the very beginning.
It's also, thank you, Brenda. It's also why I greeted each person as they came in by name and welcomed you so that you know that you are welcomed here and wanted and valued here. So even online, it's possible to make people feel welcomed when they walk in. And then, of course, in person, you do the same thing with a smile. My grounding practice is the music, but it also feeds into this number 2 of making sure people feel welcome because, music tames the savage beast. And sometimes we come into these meetings and we're feeling like a savage beast. And so it's helpful to have the music to help people to calm themselves.
Next, number 3, these are some options for the facilitator to determine speaking order. I often answer the question first, like I did with the Lucy face, and then pick the next person to go, and something very distinct within PEF and the groups that we lead, we pick the next person and then send it to that person with something kind, a good vibe or a good feeling. And then have someone new start each round and pick the next person. So you don't always want to have the same person answering the question in exactly the same order. You want to switch it up every now and then so that people are continually engaged and they're paying attention. Number 4, be mindful of time. Allow everyone the same amount of time to share. You may want to let participants know how much time is left after each round. You can use the agreements as a reminder, and facilitators can keep personal answers shorter to give all of the participants more time to answer their own questions.
Number 5, anyone should feel free to pass at any time. This is one from our circle practice because we do restorative practice. The idea of passing is, I might have said, okay, I'm passing to Linda with Joy or whatever I'm sending her, but Linda is not ready to speak or don't want to speak on the subject. Linda can say, I pass, and pass it on to someone else when we're in circle. This is so that we're not pressuring people to speak if they are not comfortable doing so. Then also be prepared for strong emotions from the participants and yourself. It's okay. You might be having a PTO meeting, and this is for real, right? I went to a PTO meeting when my child went into elementary school, and they spent the night talking about jackets for the photos for picture day. And people were so emotional about what they had to do in school and what the other child had and why shouldn't they have this. I couldn't believe it personally. But as a meeting facilitator, thank goodness I wasn't facilitating that one. As a meeting facilitator, you have to just be ready because the simplest thing can trigger an emotional response from people. And you have to be able to handle that and know that it's okay if it gets emotional. Be ready to pull it back. Vilma, if at any time you find us and you're ready, let me know, but I'll just keep going.
Number 8. 7. You're not responsible for others, what others think and feel. You just listen to understand. Number 8, consider co-facilitation. That means if you are new to facilitation, what this means is that having 2 or more people they can collaborate to plan, design, and deliver a workshop or training. Number 9, you are not expected to have all the answers. You are there to allow the participants to engage in conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Vilma. And to number 9, also remember that as the facilitator, that second sentence is really important. Your role is to help others express themselves, not to bring all the knowledge to the meeting. And so sometimes you have the knowledge, but other people might as well. So you hold back. You're there to facilitate the conversation, not to impart all the information.
May I have your attention, please? Thank you. So, who liked the activity just then? Please raise your hand. Thank you very much. Now, looking at the board, we still have an awful lot of things to do today, so let's get busy, shall we? Sorry, I had this really cool experiment that we were going to do, but I couldn't get any dry ice last night. I was at an estate sale. You guys, it was so cool. This guy had all of the Smokey and the Bandits for sale, and they were VHS and Beta. Beta was it was smaller than VHS, but and probably better and more compact. But by then, all the video stores already had VHS. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so let's move on. For this next activity, you're going to need partners. Hey! I'm not done giving directions yet, people. Sit down. What the jellyfish, man? You got to start learning to listen better. Thank you. Now for this next activity, you'll need a partner, and no, wait, sit back down. You got to take your pencils with you. Thanks, I forgot. Okay, for this next activity, I'm sorry, sit back down, you guys. You're going to need a pencil and a worksheet. By the way, how many of you have a worksheet? Most of you? All right, that's cool. All right, so, okay, I want you to get a partner and take your worksheet and a pencil and find a place around the room where you can stand next to your partner. When you get there, I want you to decide between the two of you who's going to be first and who's going to be second. Yes, Billy? If there are three people, who's going to be first, second, and third? Thank you. Now, I want you to write down the three most important reasons why the economy is performing as it is. You can talk about politics, car sales, gas prices, whatever. Write your answers down, and when you're done, you're going to go around the room and talk to different people about your answers and write down the answers that they have that we don't have. For example, you might be walking in a room and telling somebody who isn't your partner now that you thought the gas prices had a big effect on the economy. Maybe they didn't have that. Maybe they did have that. If they didn't have that one, they would write that one down on their paper, right? If you had the ones they had, then you just say thanks and go to another person. If they did have one you didn't have, just do as I said and write down their answer on a sheet of paper. Then you still leave them and go to find another person. All right? Keep doing this until you have at least 3 reasons added to your list. When you're all done, go back to your seat, start writing up a report that highlights the reasons from the recent economic performance using at least one of the reasons that you came up with and one of the reasons that you found from one of your partners as you walked around. Okay, let's get going, people. You got work to do.
Prime example of everything not to do as a facilitator. You don't come in, you don't talk about your personal stuff. You don't talk about, the things on the board that's not there and talking fast and everything else. And I just noticed that he just gave all these instructions and nothing was clear. And I was wondering if the people were getting up to walk out the classroom because they didn't understand him either. So what I'm going to ask if you can, we're going to talk about the video. What are some of the things that you notice? So if you just want to come off mute and we're just going to do it popcorn style, just whatever comes to your mind.
I was just going to say he was very distracted. He was all over the place. It seemed like he was talking to a classroom of students. So that's even worse because they need direction. And I don't think he started out giving clear instructions. So the slightest little bit of conversation, he was taken off task, as well as something would pop into his head and he would just start talking about it. And it had nothing to do with what he should have been talking about.
Exactly.
So staying on task and being mindful of it. In some instances, it's okay to maybe share a personal experience, but make it very brief, and it needs to relate to the subject.
Right, exactly. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if any of the students knew what they were supposed to do. Because I'm really good at following directions, and he got to the end. I'm like, wait, what are they doing? Yeah.
Vilma?
Yes, I think that he didn't plan his presentation and he was not specific because when he was delivering, I think that he was just talking to himself, remembering whatever he wanted to say.
Yeah. Brittany, you had something to say?
Yes, thank you, Linda. Just that the entire video is like a comedy. It cracks me up because in addition to what everyone has already shared, what he just wasn't speaking like he was speaking. He wasn't projecting his voice. He was just talking like one run-on sentence that had no end, and
yeah,
it was just bad.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to say, did he ever finish a sentence?
I don't think he ever finished. Even when he talked about his wanting to do his experiment with the dry ice, but he went to an estate sale and it was like it was coming together.
And then he didn't realize that all of the kids didn't have like a pencil or the sheet of
Right,
paper.
right.
He's like, "Oh, you
Right.
don't have paper? Oh, okay."
Yeah, like, okay, well, not that I'll get you some or whatever,
No, he
right?
was just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the
Yeah.
beginning, he pointed to the board. This is what we're going to do. And there was zero on the board. Nothing.
Ha, ha, ha. Very observant.
Then okay, all right.
Okay, I'm going to share again. Thank you, Linda, and thank you all for your comments. I think this is a great video for people to see of what not to
What
do.
not to do.
And even though you're right, he was a teacher in a classroom, sometimes teachers need those facilitation skills as well in order to direct their students about what they
Exactly.
want.
Exactly.
So this is a piece that I pulled down from Changeology that I use a lot. I'm trying to think how to get rid of this so that we can see it better. And it's about facilitating difficult participants. I'm just going to walk you through a few of them. When you get the copy of the presentation tonight, it is linked on that picture. So you will have the link to get to this site as well. Sometimes you walk in and either one, it's a difficult conversation to have, or two, some people are just difficult. And here it says, love them or hate them, they're always there. But there is a lot of wisdom. And here are some top line ones. We don't have enough time to go through the whole thing, but it's a really good document for you to have. So first, top line principles, let the conflict come out. Unaddressed conflict can be destructive because it'll just fester. So it's important to provide the means by which everyone can hear what the conflict is and can respond to it. It's what is often mentioned as the white elephant in the room. So when there is conflict, do at least state and acknowledge that it's there. Allow people to express emotions and get it off their chest. If necessary, spend time examining the arguments to find out what the underlying issues are. There's a strategy we won't teach today that's called 5 whys. When you ask somebody why 5 times, it usually gets you to that underlying issue. These 2 pages by themselves are a whole workshop of more than an hour. So just the surface here. Never take sides in a conflict. If you are a facilitator, you need to remain a neutral, fair umpire. So when it's a charged subject or conversation, your role as the facilitator is to get the 2 sides to talk and express themselves and hopefully come to an agreement. And another way to say, as the first one, as I said, name the elephant in the room. Give people space. People just need to be heard, even when it's not a tense subject. People want to be heard. Sometimes they want to tell their stories, and you only have an hour. So you have to find graceful ways to say, thank you, but we must move back to our agenda, or pull people back to their agreement and ask the person to just please wrap up so that somebody else can talk. And also there's the whiteboard or a parking lot. Some people call it a pocket, but have a space, usually a chart or something, where if an issue comes up which is not relevant to the current topic, you can say, that's a great idea. Let's put it in the parking lot so that we could come back to that at some point. It may not be today, but we have it recorded. That usually works. Often people have common values. They care about similar things, and the dispute is really about how to get there. So be mindful of the misunderstanding and look for that common ground. And then remember that the room will back you up. In a difficult situation, you can pause and say, what do you think we should do next? We're at this space where X is happening and we have to contemplate with Y. What do people think we should do next? So don't go into facilitating feeling as if you have to be the one to fix it or to direct it. Sometimes you can direct that question to the room. So there are lots of tactics here that you can also look at. There are tips for angry people. This one I love, and so I do want to highlight it. Raise your voice to their volume and pitch, and then bring it down gradually to normal. Generally, the room will follow you. When you bring it down, it's also known as lending your calm. So you're deliberately going high so that they hear you, and then you're bringing that calm down to the room. Here's a little story for you to read later. I won't stay there. And then there are unstoppable people. They just go on and on and on. Here are some tips for how to work with those folks in your room. But let's go to the ground rules. We call them agreements. We did that up front. When it's a group, and that was just our basic agreements, but when it's a group that's going to be meeting regularly, say for instance, a PTO or a PTA, you want those ground rules. You set them early in the year. So then when you come to a meeting that's hot, you can fall back on your ground rules. Hey, remember, we decided this is how we were going to problem solve. There were tactics like fist of five. If you agree fully, put up a five, and then it comes down the scale. If this is something you absolutely cannot agree with, put up a fist. And so you get a sense easily of how people are feeling about a certain topic. But that's something that has to be agreed on initially. It's hard to do when you're already in the heated conversation. Establish that it's okay to disagree with ideas, but not with the people who express them. In organizing, we say attack the issue, not the person. That is not popular in our country right now, but we still stand by that rule. Attack the issue, not the people who are expressing the ideas or the opinion. So you can say, I don't agree with that, which is very different from saying, you always come with these crazy ideas. In the second part, you're attacking the person. In the first piece, even though it is a crazy idea, you're talking about not agreeing with the idea. This says all contributions should be limited to 1 minute. That's for you to set as the facilitator, because you've looked ahead when you did your planning to know how much time you have and how much time you should ask people to limit their contributions to. If you're a person who finds it easy to speak up, this is a chance to practice listening more. If you're a person who tends to be quiet, this is a chance to speak up. That's our step up, step back agreement that we had earlier. This is another way of saying it, but also something to consider when you are in facilitation mode. If the ground rules are broken, or you are personally challenged, be calm and assertive. Refer back to the ground rules for your authority. And if it continues, ask the group for a ruling. So it's great to have your ground rules posted somewhere if this is a meeting that happens over and over again. Or you have the agreements that we had earlier. You could just point back to it. Listen, we looked at those agreements. We said this was how we were going to operate. Let's make sure that we're sticking to them. And then a fun idea, I'll make this gentle sound exactly a frog croak phone sound when we need reminding of the ground rules. You can establish what that is with your group. I've been in groups where we say ouch. If somebody breaks one of the ground rules and we're feeling offended by it, we say ouch. And ouch means we stop the conversation and we think about what just happened and make sure everybody is ready to proceed again. So there are also some tips for contrarians, for people who just don't participate, ideas of what you can do there. And I highly recommend that you click on this link when you get the document and go through it and use whatever you find helpful there. I think you'll find it all very helpful. So I'm going to go back to the slides and go to the next one. And this link is here on the picture. So when you click on this first picture, it will open up the document. They're both pages here, but hard to read. So what happens after the meeting, Brenda?
Yes, we've talked about how to prepare for the meeting, how to facilitate the meeting, what not to do, and now we're moving into after the meeting. So first is the evaluation and the debrief, especially if you've had co-facilitators. You want to ask, how did it go? Did you meet your goals, the goals that were originally set for this meeting? Would the participants think it was productive? Have those conversations. And what could you do better next time? This is always an important one. And at times, it's even helpful to send out an after meeting survey if you're leading something that has outside participants. After the evaluation and the debrief, you want to follow up with your participants. Make sure you're thanking them for engaging, for participating, for being present, for adhering to the agreements. And if applicable, if necessary, and assigned roles or tasks, it's important to remind people of those assigned tasks and the due date.
Thank you, Brenda. This slide is to remind us that attitude is everything. How you present yourself when you're going to a meeting is very important. Before you go to the meeting, we did not put this in our before list, but make sure, maybe we will for next time, make sure you're presentable, right? So you don't want your hair sticking up in all different ways. It's distracting. You don't want clothes that don't fit properly because people will spend time looking at your clothes and looking at your hair rather than paying attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth. So make sure you're ready for that. Also, dress appropriately. You may have a closet full of designer outfits that you wear on, party night. But is that the right thing to wear if you're meeting with a group of parents who don't have much on the table? I'm not saying be someone else, but I'm saying don't be the standout. Look good and feel good, but not show off and brag when you come to stand in front of a body of people to present. Also, remember your attitude. It might be you're the person with the most knowledge in the room, but you don't want to come off that way. It's not why you're there. You're not the keynote speaker. You're the facilitator. You're there to help them express themselves and come to some kind of consensus or decision. That is the role of the facilitator. So even if you have the knowledge, it might not be necessary for you to share all the knowledge, and it's certainly not necessary for them to know how much you know. What they need to know is, in this case, you can handle this meeting, you can stick to your agenda, and you can set the goals and help them get to the outcomes that the group desire. Does anybody want to add anything here about attitude? And the other thing is smile. Keep smiling, say thank you just as often as you can, and make sure that people are feeling valued.
No, I think you covered it. Attitude is everything.
Attitude is everything when it comes to this, and a whole lot more. So now I'd love to hear from you. and it's not my slide, so I'm going to shut up. I'm going to step back. Vilma.
Yes. Now, what are we going to do? How can you use your new knowledge to improve your work?
I will stop
What have you,
sharing so we can see people.
right? What have you learned that you are going to be using to portray the a presentation of your knowledge? Um, Nicole, hi. Is there any way that you could kindly tell us something?
Um, I think I can. I felt like I did a family engagement back in August, and I was a little nervous. So I was like, okay, do I have time to do this? Did I have time to do that? And one of the things that I regret not doing that I would definitely will do the next time is that I would definitely do an icebreaker to kind of get everybody engaged. One of the other things that and I don't know if anybody can help with this, is that when I had prepared a survey at the end and I had like a QR code and everything ready to go. And for some reason, I could only get like a few people to do it. Like I even sent like a follow-up email, thanked everyone for coming. The way that we can still be able to do these things is I need feedback. We need to quantitate to show that this is something that is working. And someone suggested that I kind of do an opening survey, if you will, like before the meeting even starts, like, what is your expectations of this? What are you looking to get out of that? And then basically the one later on is like the follow up to the first one. So I attend like different workshops and stuff. And I always find like at the end of the workshop, it's almost like they pause. Now, the difference is it's online rather than in person, but it's like they pause to give people an opportunity to complete the survey, like right then and there. So you know that it's being done. So that's the one thing, like I said, some things that I've learned to make adjustments, but that's one of the frustrations that I have is getting feedback from the participants to say, did this work? Did you get everything out of it? What can I do differently? And it was, like I said, maybe 4 people out of, let's say, 15 that actually responded. So I guess figuring out how to effectively get everyone, or at least the majority of the participants, to, give a survey to say, okay, and it's anonymous, I'm open to criticism. But of course, everybody that responded was like, oh, it was great. It's this, and this. This is what I got out of it. So then I'm like, are the people that didn't respond, did they not have something positive to say? So they didn't say anything. But you can't do better if you don't know what to change or where
Thank
you
you
can
so much. Thank you so much,
I
Nicole.
have 2 responses, if I may.
Yes.
One is 4 out of 15 is great. On average, surveys get 10% response, which is awful, but that's the average is 10%. You do get more if you do it right there.
Right.
So I have something else for you, but before we close out, scan the QR code. I'll give you a few minutes to answer just these 5 questions. And you don't want more than 5 questions. So also helps if they're like check boxes when they go in with maybe one open-ended.
Right.
The end. So those are the things that I can offer as a response. But you're doing good with 4 out of 15.
Yeah.
Thank
That
you,
gives me
Vilma.
hope. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Rosie, we have like 3 minutes and we're not finished.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know what? The next slide is Q&A.
Okay.
So why don't we see if anybody has any questions, and then Linda is going to wrap us up. There you go.
Okay. So we want to say thank you. And this quote by Marianne Williamson expresses our deepest gratitude. So our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to manifest the glory that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Thank you, Miss Linda. In other words, you've got this.
You got this.
So reach out to us if you feel like you need any support. You can reach us through SPAN or look us up at Patterson Education Fund. And go get them. Go run some awesome meetings.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank
Have a
you,
good day.
everyone.
Thanks, you
Have
too.
a good one.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.